What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Welcome back to the Front Office Report. I have with me Sebastian and Omar. How are we doing, boys?
Beautiful, man. Beautiful.
Are we excited about
lovely day to record.
game one of the NBA Finals? Finally.
Well, I'm slightly upset still, but
who would have thought? Not me.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of this, we said Phoenix Suns are going to be the finalists, and like the Lakers and Clippers are not going to be. Well, the Lakers didn't even make it out of round one, so
I mean that was wild in itself.
Yeah, just absolutely nuts. And I mean, the Bucks, you could have guessed that they were going to go through. It was either going to be the Nets or the Bucks, I think, pretty much every time. But it's a bit shocking that the Nets aren't there. But first of all, I do want to ask you, Seb, because we never did a video on this. How do we feel about the Clippers losing to this Phoenix Suns team?
Obviously, it was disappointing. Like it was a shame, but I do think that team gave like literally everything. I will keep hammering on about Paul George being just a goddamn G. Like when you look at the minutes he was playing, the offensive sort of responsibility he took on with Kawhi being out, he was basically our point guard pretty much, let's be honest, as well as then having to then be the number one defender. Like I think he was just gassed like by the end of it.
For sure.
It was a bit the whole Pat Bev pushing CP3 was a little bit like, really, why are you doing that? That was a bit disappointing. But otherwise, you know what? Like, I have a lot of love for this team. I really hope we can go again. But I think Reggie Jackson might have overpriced himself because he had a ridiculous postseason.
It's going to be tough for the Clippers to kind of get those players back and kind of like build around that Kawhi Leonard, Paul George thing, because time's ticking, time's running out, and it's whether you want to trade and get return on investment, or you're going to let this thing ride out into free agency, and you could have neither Kawhi Leonard nor Paul George.
I think Paul George is under contract, I believe.
Well, not after this season. I mean, after this coming season.
Kawhi is a free agent this year. So
he is.
Although the expectation is he's going to resign. He could just leave, and then we would be screwed.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's another super team in the making with like the Phoenix Suns.
Come to the Raptors. Come back to the Raptors.
The rumor that was popping up quite a lot was that the Mavericks were going to push hard for him. I mean,
that'd be a deadly team.
Luka Kawhi combo would be absolutely disgusting. I honestly think that, realistically speaking, if Kawhi plays in that series, I honestly think the Clippers go through. Like,
I think it's a lot closer for sure. I think it's a lot closer for
that's
sure.
The thing. I mean, you look at the games and the margins of victory. It was close. Like it was really close. A lot of those games, even what was the last one? I think was by sort of 14. But then, as I say, everyone was gassed. But a lot of the other games that we lost were under 10 points. I honestly think if Kawhi plays, we're in the finals right now. So injuries happen. You move on. I just hope we can run it back, but I think it might be a bit tough.
Yeah, as a Rockets fan, when the Rockets were 3-1 up against the Warriors and then Chris Paul goes down injured, I know exactly how that feels. Anyway, let's get to this Suns versus Bucks thing. I'm going to go to you, Omar. We know that Giannis is doubtful for tonight's game one. What's your thoughts on that? What's going to happen?
I mean, I the cat makes a return. I mean, I think regardless of if Giannis, even if he doesn't play this game, but like at some point comes back, I would assume he's gonna be back for game 2 or at least game 3.
Yeah.
I think this series has a potential all the way to go to game 7. I don't know if you guys saw, but some random person tweeted in like 2017.
Yes, I did.
Like
I was going to bring that up.
Suns, Bucks Suns final, like game 7, and like some specific score. So, I want to say that guy's a time traveler, and maybe he was trying to tell us something.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I think overall, I think probably the Suns are a bit in their feels right now, and probably gonna go super gun ho and like try to like win game 1 to make a statement. Yeah. And like obviously, I don't know if you guys saw them like celebrating with all the fans outside. I mean, clearly COVID is done, so no masks.
America never existed in America.
So I think that kind of energy, that momentum will carry them and make them win game 1. If I was putting money down, I would definitely give it to the Suns. But I think once Giannis comes back, I think that's when he's going to show his marbles. And I have to give credit to Drew Holiday and Khris Middleton, two of the most inconsistent yet explosive players in this postseason.
Khris Middleton really took that team on his back in the last two games there and like went all out for it. So definitely something to look forward to. Speaking of tonight's game, I believe as of right now, when Giannis was basically brain freeze there. When Giannis was listed as doubtful, the bookies put the Suns as 6.5 point favorites, which is quite a lot for a betting margin. Yeah. Usually it's around 1.5, 2.5 points. So 6.5 suggests it's going to be somewhat a blowout for the Phoenix Suns. How close do you see this being in tonight's game, Seb?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because I think when you look at the two teams, I feel that the deeper squad is Phoenix. I do put them as favorites. 6.5 is quite a few though. I just worry when you don't have Giannis. If you look at their playoff scoring averages, Giannis on 28, Khris Middleton 23, Drew Holiday 17, Brook Lopez 13.5. After that, they have no double-digit scorers following that. So I think scoring is going to be a bit of an issue for them, to be honest. And I can't see that being an issue for the Suns. Like,
it's kind of the opposite with the Suns. When you watch the Suns versus the Clippers, it was like they went and started scoring in bunches. They suddenly went up by 16 points, and then you take off Chris Paul and Cam Payton and DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker, and then the Clippers would slowly come back. But when you have that starting five on the court, it's going to be. Man, it's going to be a lot of hard defending. And I guess when you have guys like PJ Tucker, who has, was excellent with the Rockets and then got a really decent deal in Milwaukee, that's the kind of guy you want in Milwaukee just to slow down Chris Paul and Devin Booker. You basically just want to stop them. I know it sounds really simple, but stop them from scoring and slow them down a bit, slow the game down a bit. You do not want to do what the Clippers did and go 10-0 down every game and start the first quarter off horribly. The Clippers really had a knack for kind of like going down by 10 points in the first 2 minutes. So, I mean, the Bucks, if you keep it a bit closer, the Bucks tend to...
I'm gonna stop us right here. I don't know about you guys. I've just got a Bleach report. Giannis could play game 1.
Oh God,
Bucks star has been getting around-the-clock treatment on his knee and is expected to be a game-time decision.
I'm glad I checked that notification. I never understand this on a game 1. Why would you risk it and not just rest for another 2 or 3 days extra rest rather than throwing him in game 1, which you're probably going to lose because it's away from home anyway. You want to defend that, those 2 games at home are must wins, and you want to stretch that series to game 7. So to me, I'm a bit worried if I'm a Bucks fan. Part of me is like, yes, we might win this game tonight, but long term, it's over probably 5 to 7 games. Do you really want to risk Giannis's health? It's just it makes me a bit cringy. So I don't know.
It's tough on that.
So, and I think another thing that's actually not talked enough about this matchup is I think both teams have fairly decent perimeter shooting, but both teams really like playing in the mid-range and in the paint. And obviously the Suns have DeAndre Ayton and the Bucks. So I think it's Brock, right? It's Brock Lopez.
Brook Lopez.
Brock
Lesnar.
So he's decent, but I think Giannis not playing will really hurt them in the paint, just having another big body there. And obviously DeAndre Ayton is like 7'2" and just a giant behemoth of a man that can is very physical in rebound, both offensive and defensive rebounding. So I think something to look forward to is that mid-range paint dominance, and especially because Chris Paul has a decent 3-point shooter, but a lot of his points is him actually driving in. So if you have the trees of Lopez and Antetokounmpo trying to swat you down, I'm very interested to see then how that will affect CP3 scoring, right?
Yeah. So CP3 he loves that little pull-up just from just inside the restricted. Yeah.
And I've seen lots of people say that and just double team CP, but he's such a great facilitator. He doesn't really need to score. Those 10 assists, 11 assists do a lot more damage as well anyway when you got some great 3-point shooters around them. But yeah, Seb, go ahead. I knew you were going to say something.
Yeah, no, I just think you have got some fantastic 3-point shooters on this Suns team anyway. I mean, some of the runs that Devin Booker was going on against the Clippers, just absolutely disgusting. And I mean, even if you start getting Jay Crowder getting hot, like there was, I think in game 6 when we lost the series, I think he hit a good sort of 4 or 5 once he comes into the 4 with a few, and then you get like a Chris Paul hitting a couple, campaign who's been a revelation this postseason. I think he's going to be priced out of Phoenix next season, to be honest, because I think he's a free agent this year. It could start raining threes for them. I think, like you said, they have got some size, the Bucks, which aside from the center that Suns have, who I've completely forgotten his name right now, DeAndre Ayton. Apart from DeAndre Ayton, they don't have a lot of size. Again, Brook Lopez in game 5 went off for 33 points, I think he had.
Back the clock, that one.
And it was all paint points. Even Bobby Porter's got 22 in game 5. Like they have got some presence. So I think it could be quite an interesting matchup, to be honest.
So what do you guys think? Are we going a 7-game series? Who's your... How many games are we going, and who is your NBA 2021 champion?
Omar, you want to go first, or shall I take it?
Yeah, you can go first. I'm still thinking.
I think it's Suns. I think Suns do it. I just think, the depth that they have, I think, pushes them over. There was a little piece of me, as a Clippers fan, I would quite like to see CP get that ring, and if he gets that ring, he's solidified top 5 PG of all time. I'm just putting that out there. So I think Suns take it in 7. Suns in 7.
Oof. Man,
I think it's going to be a long series.
Yeah. So I mean, I agree with the notion it's going to be a long series. So look, I think the Suns. I think CP3's. Not just facilitation, but also just like experience and kind of like that. He's not even a veteran. He's like a super veteran, right? Like he's like 36. So I think having that kind of guidance will help. But at the same time, it is his first finals. So like, I think it's a different dynamic when you're in the kind of that championship set of games. I want to say that Twitter guy knows something that we don't. And it's Bucks in 7. And I think a big part of it will be Giannis is going to be a different monster once he's back on the court and playing. I think deep down, he knows he's constantly being compared to LeBron and like KD and stuff. And the only way he can start cementing some form of legacy and to be on that kind of caliber of reputation is if he wins this ring. I don't think everyone will still think of him as a great player, but not that elite top tier kind of vibe, even though he's won like an MVP and all that jazz, but like people still don't view him in that regard. And I think once he wins a ring, people started looking at him a bit differently. And I think he knows that and he wants that. And I think hopefully that will push him to such a different level of performance and just like aggressiveness that will hopefully guide the Bucks to a win in 7. Dan?
Oh, I'm going to say like the guy in Phoenix says, Suns in 4. Not really. I think it's gonna be like. I'm gonna say,
whoa.
That's bold. Yeah,
I'm probably gonna go Suns in 7. I do think Suns are just far superior in every facet. I know, like you're saying, Giannis kind of like needs this to be his legacy. He needs to win, but the people around him are just far too inconsistent. If you look at Phoenix, they're just
the supporting cast.
You can't win a championship by yourself. You can ask LeBron James that. You can ask Kevin Durant.
I will ask LeBron James that. He did win it by himself. What are you on about?
Where? When? Don't say in Cleveland.
Don't dig that.
Don't say in Cleveland because he had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. And at the time, Kevin Love was amazing.
No. He wasn't. No, that year he wasn't.
His stats. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he played hella good that year. I'm sure he did.
Okay. Look, it's the scoreboard. Like for example, I think the record for the highest plus minus record was Boamote or whatever his name was. Okay. Well, on the Rockets, who had a plus 22. So like stats don't say the full picture.
Okay, so Kevin Love played 33 minutes, had 19 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, and I'm trying to see how many 3-pointers. 3 3-pointers per game. That's pretty good for a third man. 20 points almost. Kyrie Irving shooting that dagger over Steph Curry in Game 7.
I mean,
there's no way LeBron James is the man. He always has been, always will be like the number one man in every team, whether it's at the Heat, whether it's at the Lakers, whether it's at Cleveland. He's always like the number one guy that you'll remember and think of, probably does the most for the team. But doesn't mean he wins it by himself. He always has to have someone next to him. And that's not a slight at LeBron James, because I think in the modern day NBA, if you look at every single team, the Warriors had to do it.
At least 2 stars. You have to have at least 2.
I think the only time was maybe Toronto Raptors. You could say, you know, Kyle Lowry maybe was the second man to Kawhi Leonard. I think that was just a very odd NBA Finals anyway to begin with, but no slight to hit them at all.
No, hey, I will not accept Raptor slander. Why was it an odd Finals?
I mean, it's still.
I just don't think the Raptors were that good. If you look at like the teams now compared to the Raptors, like I think any of these last 4 NBA teams would have easily dismantled the Raptors, even though Kawhi would have been on both teams.
Imagine, that would have been wild. Imagine if that Raptors team had played. I mean that Warriors team with KD.
But they played them.
No, but then wasn't
I don't understand what you're trying to say. If they play this Brooklyn, I know Brooklyn Nets did lose in whatever, but I think if they played this Brooklyn Nets team, they would get absolutely demolished. Like KD, James Harden, and Kyrie. Oh, that's disgusting.
I just want to say you're referring to a team that has not even made the finals to a team that's won the championship. Like.
These are all hypotheticals, man. It's all hypotheticals, isn't it?
I want to say the Toronto Raptors were playing against the Golden State Warriors that had no DeMarcus Cousins and no Kevin Durant in it.
Okay.
Just so we're clear.
Okay, Kevin Durant, I will maybe
possibly the great scorer of all time.
No. Okay, well,
one of the best players so far this year, for sure.
Okay, first of all, you guys, both of you need to chill out because they still had Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green. It's all like, they had a bunch of like,
it's just just a
Harrison Barnes.
Just a little asterisk.
It is a little asterisk.
So that's one. Okay, so that's one. That's one. And 2, right? They still won a very strong team. And 3, you cannot compare a team that even make to the finals to a team that's won a championship.
Well,
and 4, why are you bringing DeMarcus Cousins as even a factor?
DeMarcus Cousins was 2 or 3 years ago a very decent player.
Not on the Warriors, maybe before. But he had blown
his knee. Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying,
by him, you saying, they were missing Cousins. It's like,
they're missing Kevin Durant, the best player in the last 15 years, probably easily.
Okay, but it's not like they did have Steph Curry, the greatest point guard of all time.
I mean, Steph Curry, then they win that easily. It's non-negotiable, really.
DeMarcus Cousins stats: 2019 regular season, 16 points, 3.5 assists, 8 rebounds. Like that's some pretty considerable numbers. 75% of the free throw line. Like he would have made a difference, 100%. Hey, GG's. Who knows? We will never be able to put these teams against each other. At the end of the day, Omar, be happy. The Raptors won. You have a chip. So.
I'm just saying, I'm not accepting Raptor slander.
And I have to say, I honestly think that Kawhi shot against the Sixers might be one of my just favorite shots all time. Like the commentary with it. Like
also, Kawhi should have never left the Raptors. Him going to the Clippers was his greatest mistake. Clearly, evidently and clearly.
Doesn't look
like again, injuries. Fun. If we hadn't had injuries, we could be on at least one chip right now. But you don't know what happens with these things.
By the way, I think Kawhi's gonna leave. I think
you're gonna end up like the Rockets, where you're gonna have nobody playing for you.
No one, no
losing game after
game. No prospects whatsoever.
All right, well, I think we've kind of wrapped up our thoughts and feelings on the NBA Finals over the last 5 years. All right, well, thank you for watching. It's gonna be an incredible series. No matter what happens, I think this is just gonna be full of storylines and highlights and whatever. So thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like hearing us ramble about sports, feel free to subscribe at the top right, check out the next videos on the left, and feel free to leave us a like at the bottom. Thank you guys for watching.